All right, welcome everybody. I'm Lucian Fogoros, and today we have a special guest from Eaton, the Executive Vice President and Chief Digital Officer at Eaton. Aravind, welcome. It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Lucian. Really appreciate the opportunity here.
Yeah, so we connected in a context of this study that Eaton had commissioned over 1,000 executives around the intersection of digital transformation and energy transition. So I was curious, what is your bigger takeaway of that research?
Yeah, I think as you have read the report, right, the research report, I believe it was titled The Intersection of Digital Transformation and Energy Transition. Lucian, I think businesses, as they enter this energy transition era, they need new digital tools to manage their changing mix of energy sources. Electricity, power consumption source, I think the energy influx is higher. More renewables are added to the mix, their portfolio, businesses' energy portfolio. EVs are becoming much more mainstream. They're taking off fast. This energy transition trend, I think, will generate new and far more data than businesses need to make sense of and act on. There's a few use cases here and proof points that we actually mentioned in the report to Lucian. Businesses, mostly power-intensive businesses, they need to consider the transition happening in energy, and it is very tightly coupled with digital enablement. Some proof points there: 77% of the companies that we survey expect to transition away from the current energy mix and the current energy sources. That said, only 50% of the companies are actually executing the digital strategy needed to navigate this shift. And you can see that there's a specific gap we identified there in terms of how businesses are applying digitalization to realize their decarbonization goals, their sustainability goals, etc. This research also sheds light where I think power critical, energy critical businesses can focus investments to make a bigger impact. Take the example of some of the power intensive segments that we talked about, right? Like utilities or data centers or buildings or industrial process and discrete. With the utilities, I believe they need a cohesive way to manage energy sources and data sources, primarily data sources. A lot of capital investments in IT infrastructure are essential to make that happen. Data centers, I know they've taken off since COVID. Different kinds of data centers. I mean, you have hyperscales, you have distributed IT, I mean, you have the colos. They have new levers at hand to reduce carbon footprint and to create new revenue generating streams. Digital transformation strategies are enabling these data centers of every variety to manage multiple energy sources, anticipate energy requirements, and participate in grid programs, which they haven't participated earlier. And these are new revenue streams as well. Talk about buildings, right? I mean, they're prioritizing sustainability, and every building is different here. We have commercial buildings, we have campuses, I mean, we have residential buildings. They're prioritizing sustainability. There's a lot of investments being made in smart building initiatives that will enable owners and operators to seize new opportunities to better manage existing infrastructure and prepare for future energy investments as well. Talk about industrial process and discrete. Some of these industrials, they have new incentives now to apply digitalization beyond typical business processes and people-centric challenges. Automation is very key there. Electric power has always been essential to industrial processes, as we all know. And this digital transformation or digitalization is allowing industrials to monitor their power infrastructure effectively, accurately, so that they use less electricity, improve worker safety, and many more challenges they can address here. So those are some of the key messages there, Lucian.
Yeah, so a lot to digest. So maybe just to help our audience a little bit, Eaton in particular had combined the digital transformation and digitalization together. Why is it important to look at this together versus? Yeah.
I think with energy transition, you have a lot of energy sources that are being added ad hoc, right? Mm-hmm. Business processes become much more complex. You take the context of a utility, you take the context of an industrial or a data center. I think the business process itself becomes much more complex. Automation is key there. A lot of data sources also come in, right? So that is the key reason why I think you need to take a look at what's the energy transition trend, what are the new assets being added, what are the new processes being added, and in the context of digital transformation. Net, Lucian, I think digitalization provides kind of new flexibility and a better approach to manage power. Take the example of data centers where longer term digital investments in always on power are paying off. They improve performance, they shrink carbon footprint, and they help data centers earn new revenue streams. Expanding on the data center use case solution, there is as we all know, there is enormous global appetite for online data. Everything requires more data. Everything requires more storage in terms of the software applications that are coming in, the data that's coming in. And there's more data centers that are getting developed. While the energy transition impacts how data centers manage power needs. Our research report, if you study the data there, it shows data center energy management is changing. New energy business models are key. Sustainability, efficiency, they're driving data center digitalization. More than 50% of data centers are looking to increase the renewable portfolio mix. And 47% are interested in increasing energy storage to help with the power consumption, with energy consumption. Power intelligence is a critical parameter or a set of parameters monitored in data centers. That's becoming a priority. Even when we think of data centers, I think they're inherently digital. Only 41% of data centers want to provide power intelligence to more people. So this is some data that we're actually uncovering.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the expansion also on the use cases, the data center, and also the quote that you mentioned at the beginning around the 50% having a strategy around digital transformation. 50 are looking at that. I'm curious if you have any insights or where businesses in the energy sector can focus their investment to make a bigger impact, leveraging digital transformation technology in addition to the data centers.
Yeah, good question, Lucian. As energy sources increase and businesses diversify their energy portfolio mix, digital transformation is extremely critical to manage increasing data, complexity, and new energy sources. Especially when it comes to the electric grid, utility IT systems, they need new ways to protect customers, or cybersecurity, if you will. They need to protect the grid and enable more affordable and sustainable energy. That said, I would boil it down to a few points, Lucian. You asked where are the investments, right? Number one investment is cybersecurity, protecting their process, protecting their assets. Second is data storage capabilities. And third is how do we take the data? How do we mine the data for specific insights, whether it is asset protection, whether it is asset anomaly detection, whether it is energy efficiency, getting those insights and feeding them to good software applications as part of the capital infrastructure for utilities, as an example. So those are some cases where I think I'd like to focus on. Sure. We can talk more detail about a utility use case here. Increasing energy sources, more assets, more data sources, more data to manage, increasing complexity of the business process. One opportunity that we see, how do we manage energy sources, provide sustainable, resilient, and safe power? How do we enable utilities to better plan and optimize the grid of the future? And plan is key there in terms of new assets coming in, new renewable assets coming in ad hoc. But they have to reduce outages. They have to become more predictive. They have to enable the clean energy transition to digital tools. And utilities see digital transformation as a path there to the new business models and revenue sources. An example there could be enabling EV charging, given the influx of new EVs. We're also collaborating with our utility customers to deliver new tools, advanced functionality essential to support clean energy and electrification. In this case, capacity planning tools, right? They are streamlining renewable integration. They provide quick and easy access to information about the grid's capacity. And when I say grid's capacity, it's also about new sources of energy that are coming in, new assets that are coming in, the distributed energy resources, if you will. Our grid planning and modeling software, it automates the analysis required, it reduces the complexity and cost of adding more clean energy resources. Advanced distribution planning systems are also key there. We've heard non-wires alternatives, to meet regulatory requirements and accelerating clean energy goals. Utilities actually need a centralized view into such complex energy systems so that they can take localized action, quick localized action. That's what they're looking for. Actions and recommendations, not reports. And our advanced distribution planning systems actually provide that capability. Large utilities, smaller utilities can design, implement these non-wires alternatives quickly and safely. without advanced knowledge or advanced degrees in physics or months of complex analysis that's required. Analytics is also key here. I mean, they support clean energy investments by helping utilities. What is planned and what actually exists really out in the field, so they can align the capacity planning and the real-time response of outage management systems. So, which means fewer unnecessary truck rolls to actually maintain their assets. So those are some key points that I'd actually mentioned, Lucian.
Got it. Thank you. No, I agree. And we started 6 years ago. You started with industrial cybersecurity. That was one of our first gated items that we did as well. And then, of course, how do you extract more value from the data? You mentioned a couple other points on data storage and data mining and analytics to make more sense of that. Now, I'd like to kind of zero in a little bit on how does Eaton work to help customer and accelerate the digital transformation. If you have some examples there, that would be valuable for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely, Lucian. It's a good question. I think we have a good footprint of customers globally. A lot of across these segments that we serve, like utilities or data centers or industrial process and discrete buildings, etc. So these are the markets that we actually serve. So I think we have the underpinning called Bright Layer. That is our digital foundation for conveying value, opening up new revenue streams for our customers, enabling the digital transformation. Whether it is today or the future, our solutions will enable smarter energy systems. We capture critical insights. We enable far more intelligent power management and energy management. We can better detect and address problems before they happen in a predictive way, to improve safety, to improve the worker productivity in these markets that we serve. We accelerate the clean energy transition as well. There's large amounts of data that we actually get, whether it's our device data, third-party asset data. We have a variety of devices that we actually put out in the market: breakers, drives, UPS systems. So they actually provide valuable data that can be analyzed and provide insights for energy efficiency or asset anomaly detection. And that's what our Bright Layer platform does. It provides a digital foundation to get deeper energy insights, asset insights. And I think we have software suites that can actually absorb these insights and actually provide value as it relates to business process automation. A couple of examples here, right? I mean, I'll take a residential example and I'll take a utility electric grid example. For the residential home, we've infused connectivity and intelligence into foundational electrical system components like our smart circuit breakers to support smart home and building energy management systems with smart energy apps. Our breakers and wiring devices, they capture the data, and along with our EV chargers, when powered by the Green Motion label. We gather data, we find the patterns in energy usage and generation, we apply those insights to home automation and energy optimization, basically saving energy bills. This includes all the home appliances, by the way, and then health indicators in terms of appliance performance or asset performance within a residential home. We're also providing our homeowners with these smart energy insights through apps and also control. We have some apps like Smart Energy Manager, EV Charger Manager, and more that support home automation, energy optimization, and better health. From a utility standpoint, if we take the example of the electric grid, we are partnering with our utility customers to anticipate and prepare for the energy transition, enabling a grid that can react faster to changing conditions and dynamic energy sources, as we talked about earlier. Advancing the demand management with smart EV charging devices. We are participating in certain demos that show the potential for EVs to serve as a flexible load by leveraging utility power, DER management, and intelligent home energy technology. And I gave some examples of some devices like our smart breakers and Green Motion EV chargers that are foundational for such data and for enabling such insights.
Appreciate the insights there. And one area that I maybe just expand a little bit is, as I was thinking, Eaton, Cleveland-based company, over 100 years old, I'm curious how you support and encourage innovation in a capacity of Chief Digital Officer within the company relation to this digital transformation and energy transition. If I were to paraphrase, Salim Ismail of Singularity University, they say, a large company, if you try to innovate, its immune system will eat you alive. So I'm curious how you deal with that particular issue yourself, and some of the challenges in new roles that they are creating within companies like the Siemens or other large giants.
The question was more about, how do we encourage innovation in the context of digital transformation? I think we take the customer as a base solution. I talked about the markets we serve, right? Like utilities or data centers or industrial process or buildings. I think we leverage our strong customer footprint there. I think we have a loyal customer base that actually takes in our devices or apparatus or equipment. And we are in a unique position to understand the data patterns there and how they actually connect, how the electrical power systems, the power distribution equipment that we provide connects to third-party assets and how it powers their processes. So that is the base of how we actually derive innovation within the company.
Thank you for that. And maybe close with just something around, what's your favorite part of the debate in this connected industry, connected worker? And you mentioned about some of the unique things about Eaton, but is there something you feel strongly that maybe quite different belief than the practices that are out there?
Right. Thanks, Lucian. I think that's a very interesting question, though. There's multiple topics that I'd like to talk about, but metaverse, right? The industrial metaverse, if you will. I think it's a far-fetched reality in my view at this point. People want it to happen quickly. There are certain use cases that are coming out in the field, but realization of it and letting go of that is going to take some more time than we imagine it is. Some people predict 5 years, some people predict 10 years, but I think it's on the longer side of the fence, I would think, in terms of enabling a real industrial metaverse. And when I talk about industry, I'm talking about the segments that we have, like utilities or data centers. Given the regulatory constraints that we have, given the influx of the new workforce will certainly accelerate the trend, but stitching together all these processes, all these assets, virtualizing them, and creating real virtual environments where you can function, I think that's longer than we expect it can be.
Thank you, Aravind. And if you're in the audience, stay tuned and engage in a dialogue with Aravind and his team, leveraging the hashtag you see on the screen. And appreciate the opportunity to get your views and insights there, Aravind.
Thank you very much, Lucian, for the opportunity.